Hello there, I'm Sandy Allnock, and today I'm working on tulips. I had created a couple years ago some sketches of tulips that you can download and print, and it comes with a big old PDF that has all kinds of information on it about how to color these in color. But I decided I wanted to try something a little stronger in terms of contrast than what those had created. I just wanted to try something different. So if you have a white and a black pastel pencil, you could do this project. When working on toned paper, if you just work in black and white, there's something special that you can do in black and white that you can't do in color, which is to let the paper be the mid-tone. Because when a lot of people try to use black and white on a toned paper, they'll end up making the black and the white meet, and they're going to try to blend a gray out of the two of them. I have seen people do this in my life drawing class all the time, and it makes me bananas, and they don't care that I try to explain how to leave the paper color in there as the gray color. But I digress. I thought I'd show you guys this with tulips and see if it starts to make sense. I'm just adding the white portions, the highlights of my flowers. I am picturing the light coming from like over my right shoulder at this point in the drawing. And I'm just looking for places to not only put the white highlights on that side of the flower, but also make some of the tips on the left side, even though they're further away from the light. I wanted to hide some of those lines because I thought it would be helpful to get rid of some of them so they don't all look as though they're outlined, because I wanted this to look like just more like a drawing and not necessarily like a printed piece that I'm just adding something to. You can do this with all kinds of things though. So if you have some really great printables that you've purchased from anywhere, me or anybody else, feel free to try this. Just print it on a toned paper. Now, when I came out with these tulip basket sketches, I did them on colored papers and kind of did the same thing as I'm doing right here. I used a white pencil, and this is, you can just use Prismacolor pencils or Polychromos pencils and do some underpainting. So in this particular case, it's underpainting, so the white is going to hold up the color that's on top. The color on top will be able to stand up to the background color. But on these, we're not looking to necessarily keep the paper color in the tulips, because we're going to go over that. You'll have some areas that are going to be over the white and some areas that are not over the white, so it'll change the value of that color. But when I'm just doing this in Pitt pastel pencils, all I have to do is put my whites in and then drop my blacks in and leave some space in between. The leaving the space in between is the hard part. I realize that. But it helps if you can think of first just the really dark blacks. So the center of that one tulip in this drawing, the center is going to be the blackest part because these tulips have, little black things in the center of them. And then I'm going to very lightly use the pencil going away from that so that I keep some of that gray. Now, some others that are going to be either tulips or leaves are going to maybe not have as much black in them in this particular instance. I'm going to make my leaves almost all black except for two of them that are out in the sunshine. And that's going to help differentiate them within the basket. But I can vary the amount of black I have in here and leave some of the gray paper. So if you're trying to blend it all and mix the two colors together, you end up getting with pastels or with charcoals or Conte crayons or anything, you end up getting a weird color when they mix together, which is why it looks awkward on like toned paper. So you want to try as much as possible to keep them separate from each other and yet let them work together. So now I've got some leaves in there so I know what the contrast looks like. But on this flower, I thought, what if I had part of the tips of the flower in the white. So I got rid of the lines, and then get rid of the other lines on the lower petal down here, but only with very light pencil. And that still gives me the form, but it doesn't give me like the weird mixing of white and black that would happen if I tried to mix the white and the black together. I'm letting one of the leaves be carried by a black pencil and one by a white pencil. Now, these are Pitt pastel pencils. Lots of different kinds of pastel pencils you can use, but the same principle generally applies. Now, there's some, whether it's brands or papers or all different kinds of supply-oriented things, where if you start mixing the two, if you try to draw over top of one with another, certain kind of pencil using with another brand of pencil, you may end up with weird waxy things happening. So doing it this way, I'm trying to keep, in most instances, keep the white and the black from touching each other, except in like little teeny tiny bits. There's little parts of some flowers that I'm just putting a little bare minimum of black in there. But I'm trying to let the gray of the paper be the gray of the paper and not necessarily try to make everything perfectly blended in between them. Does that make sense? I certainly hope it does. When it gets to the inside of the basket, because I didn't really draw anything in there in the sketches, that a lot of it is going to just go dark. And when it goes dark and leaves the stems of the tulips in just the gray paper, then you end up with the stems looking like they're on top and there's something dark underneath, the rest of the leaves underneath, or whatever's in the basket, etc. And that's going to help to create that depth in the drawing. The really darkest point next to the very lightest point is going to be the focal point of the entire drawing, which for me is going to be the center of that tulip that you can see the inside of. Now this leaf, I thought I wanted to put the sunshine on. So if the light is coming from over my right shoulder, it's going to hit that leaf, just a little bit of it. And I can leave some lines, leave some striations in my marks with the pencil. And it's going to be just fine because those are going to look like the gray paper is making part of those lines in the leaf. But you see how that leaf now looks like it's part of the rest of this, but it's out in the sunshine more. So I'm getting more of that light hitting it. And I'm going to kind of play around with the same thing with the rest of these leaves, pushing the ones in the back with only black on them and letting them be black and gray. And the ones in the front out in the sunshine are black with gray and then just a little bit of white to give them highlights. Now, there's no reference photographs for any of these, so you have to rely on a PDF that comes with the images. So you'll get this like massive PDF with lots of information in it and lots of step-by-step. Here, do this thing first, then do that thing. And I show you pictures of it along the way. So it's kind of like a class in a PDF, and it's not expensive. So if you're a person who learns well from just reading the information and seeing a picture of it, that might be a really great alternative, because a lot of people have really enjoyed this particular PDF and have told me I should do more. So I really need to get around to doing more, don't I? So here's that other leaf that's going to be out in the sunshine. Just add a little bit of white to it, and bada boom, bada bing. Now, in the other video, and I'll link to the other video down below so you can see a little bit more about it. I explain more about the color and how to do this in color, but it's basically layering the colors over top of the white that's underneath, because that's going to build that up so you're not getting red on top of green, you're getting red on top of white. And then there's parts of it where if the paper shows, from behind it, then you're going to get multiple tones in the colors that are being drawn in. And then you can go back over it with white to make your colors more pastel as well. You do lots of layering. As long as you don't build up so much that you get waxy with it, you can keep adding more and more color to them. But the techniques for both of these are somewhat related, but they can be done with the same images. So you can do these in color or in black and white, whatever floats your boat. Now, if you want to do the black and white ones that I'm doing here in the Pitt pastel pencils, You can also do that in black and white pencils, and it would be just as gorgeous. So it's a little bit easier to get a really strong white and a strong black when you're using Pitt pencils or pastel pencils of some kind, but you can still get something really nice looking in black and white pencils. And it might be an interesting look for you to try. Now, it's not all that Eastery in terms of having like really bright colors, but sometimes you need something black and white. I have everything in my bedroom that's hanging on the walls in my bedroom. They're all black and white pieces because I want that room to just be very calm. So I didn't want color in there. The walls are a neutral color. Everything's neutral so that I can sleep in that room and not have all that color keeping my mind engaged. So I'm going to be putting these tulips in that room because I love how they came out. I think they're like really soft and fresh. Now, if you're working in pastel pencils, you do need to do a little bit more to save them, to preserve them from getting all messy, because pastel pencil and pastels themselves just fall off the paper. If you look at them, that's just how they are. They're very, very soft and malleable, kind of like taking a pencil smudge to an extreme, unfortunately. But you can spray them with a fixative. I use a Sennelier fixative on mine. And framing them right away is really going to be the best way to preserve them. And if you can frame them with a nice, like thick mat, if you can do a double mat, I try to. And if it's something that is going all the way out underneath of the mat, I often try to put a shim under the mat so the mat floats above the artwork. So if anything falls off while it's in the frame, it slides in between the mat and the frame and stays away from getting all over, making the mat all dirty and gooey. Now, with each one of these parts of the basket, like you can get away with real easily just tick marks almost on the right-hand side of each shape for the woven basket pieces. And you can see you can make all different patterns with it. You don't even have to follow the patterns in the sketch. Make different patterns with it. And then you go in with the black pencil and then just put a few tick marks on the opposite side. So wherever the highlight was, the shadow is going to come from the opposite. Now, I did risk getting the black and the white together here. I didn't leave quite enough gray in between. But I think on the basket itself, that does still work because you end up with something that still looks realistic. But I'm not going to put it in certain sections. I'm going to be real careful about that because I don't want everything to have every color in it. So you'll see by the end, there's a chunk of the basket that I didn't add any white to. But I'm adding a bunch in between all these open areas of the basket to create this open weave, this wide open type portion at the top. This is actually a basket I own. It's in my closet right now, waiting for Easter to come out because I always put flowers and stuff in it in the spring. But it's got this very open weave at the top and a very closed weave in the center, and then kind of in between weave at the bottom. And for all the open areas, I'm using a color that's a dark version of the paper color. So on this one, I'm using a green. On the gray paper, I'll use a dark gray. And on the brown paper, I'll use a brown in there. It's each one of those will just darken it so that it becomes nondescript. That's really what you want. So I've got my openings defined. I'm just adding little tiny flick marks is really all I need to do here. It's a little harder to do that kind of a flick mark and get a mark like a charcoal pencil or a pastel pencil will do. But it's real easy with these. Just flick, flick, go, go. And you can create different kinds of basket weaves depending on what you're looking for. And on these drawings, they're drawn so, they're printed kind of a tint on the paper. And depending on what color paper you're using, you can actually change the entire weave on this and make your own basket out of it because the lines are very soft. I even sometimes tell my printer, I can adjust the printer and tell it to print like 50% of the lines, so it can even print it lighter than this if I'm printing on a really light paper. But you do get some alternates in the purchase of the Tulip Printables set. so that you have one that has much more dark lines and then one that has more gray lines. But just know that you can also adjust that probably in your printer, or if you're placing it in a Word document, you can often adjust that kind of thing. So lots of different technology to do things like that. You can even, I suppose, take something into your phone and just lighten the picture a whole lot. And then when you print that, it's going to print much lighter. So here I'm doing that center weave, the really tight one, and I'm really doing it with just black shading and gray for the highlights. So I'm not putting white highlights in there, just putting in those little gray marks just to make, some indications of some texture in there. But really don't fret if you don't know how to make basket lines, because literally people are going to look at those tulips. All you have to do is rock the tulips and their leaves, and maybe just a little tiny bit of the handle and that top weave on the basket, and everything else in people's mind when they look at it will just go away. So everybody's going to be able to figure that out. Like, our brains do this wonderful thing, putting together the missing pieces of things. I love that, because our art can be very loose and fresh and not have to have that utter perfection, while still being very visible and very recognizable to anybody who's looking at it. So then I just need to add a little tiny bit of black to this, not a ton. I'm not going to go crazy on the handle because that's not the most important part. And if you get too contrasty with other parts, then you're not going to keep the focus where you want it to be. If you want it to be on that one flower that you can see the open center of, because that was the one that really got me all tickled. So if you're interested in this PDF, it's over on my website, links in the doobly-doo. If you already bought the PDF, then get that sucker back out and start making some spring flowers. We need to wish the spring here quickly, because I'm ready for it. How about you? All right, thank you so much for joining me for this. I will see you in my next video. Take care. Have a great day.